Welcome everyone to day one of the Association of the United States Army, AUSA. I'm Ferran, Managing Editor of Breaking Defense. This is Aaron Mehta, our Editor-in-Chief. We're here to give you kind of a roundup on day one and looking forward into day two. It started out very, very busy.
Yeah, this was kind of nuts. And talking with the folks, I don't think anybody's seen this. I've done about 8 of these and I've never seen it like this. Just trying to get in this morning, about 9 o'clock, there was a line around the entire convention center, which is a big convention center if you haven't been here. Massive backup trying to get in, a lot of confusion about what was going on. Seems like it was simply a mix of kind of slower security and just a lot more people than maybe in past years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a busy way to start the morning.
Clearly a ton of interest in what's going on with the U.S. Army in the future, but also there was a cloud hanging over everything today because of what's gone on in the Middle East, the attack on Israel by Hamas in Gaza.
Yeah, the Israeli situation obviously unfolded on Saturday. Look, this was a show where everyone expected to be talking about Ukraine and lessons from Ukraine, and then how the Army can prepare for China. The Pentagon, the Biden administration, has been trying to get away from the Middle East pretty significantly. And as often happens when there's a pivot to the Pacific, something happens that brings people back to the Middle East. Now we have a carrier going to the Middle East. We have the Biden administration saying it's going to prioritize getting some weapons to Israel for its use. And it's something that kind of everyone is talking about here in context of what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. From an industrial standpoint, there are a number of Israeli companies here. Talking with folks, it's clear that there were some folks who were supposed to come from Israel for these shows, decided not to come. Other folks who did come have traveled back or are in the process of trying to get back. As we've seen kind of in the news, there's a lot of Israelis around the globe trying to get back to Israel right now. The companies are no different, especially when they're making a lot of the systems that are now being employed in the conflict.
Sure. And so, with that said, we've gone on to what happened with the Army today. We've learned a little bit more about the vision for the Army of the future.
Yeah. So we heard for the first time from General Randy George, who's the new Army Chief of Staff.
Right.
Didn't make what I would call massive news, but he did make kind of give a marker in how he wants to move forward. He's talking about trying to get rid of excess old equipment. If there's ways they can learn through some pilot programs that we don't actually need this stuff, we can move forward. Ash Roki, our fantastic Army reporter, who is too busy to be filming the segment right now, running around the show. She talked with the head of Army Futures Command, and he told her, we're on our way towards the 2030, 2040 goal, the force that we're trying to build towards. If you go to Breaking Defense, you can read more about the details from that. We'll also have a Q&A from him coming up soon. Again, it's not, pole in the sand, this is our big push, this is what we're doing. It's incremental stuff, but that fits into the way the Army has been working the last few years to try to modernize itself.
Yeah, it seems very, very deliberate. Slow at times, but deliberate. But we expect to hear more tomorrow from some senior Army leaders. What are we expecting out of that?
Yeah, there's a couple of different panels. The Undersecretary of the Army is going to roll out a digital transformation strategy.
Yep.
Again, this is the kind of thing, you hear digital transformation strategy, you don't necessarily think it's the sexiest thing. But the reality is this is the kind of thing that's important, and that's going to make the Army get to where it needs to go.
Sure.
We're also going to hear from DSCA, the Defense Security Cooperation Agency, which is the agency in charge of arms sales and kind of weapon sales abroad. Every year they do this panel. It's usually where they roll out the year total from the past year of what's been sold. Charles Hooper, who's the former DSCA head, is actually going to host this one this year, so that's kind of a throwback. So again, these are the type of things, we're not necessarily looking for big home run announcements out of the show. What we're trying to get is a sense, step by step, where the Army's trying to go. I think we're going to continue to see that tomorrow.
And I know a lot of eyes are going to be on the DSCA, considering the arms being rushed to Israel, considering the continued support for Ukraine. I know everybody's going to be paying attention to that. We'll be here covering it all. We have a huge team, Ashley Roki leading the whole shebang, but we'll catch you up on every development at breakingdefense.com.